This episode is brought to you by regret and bad choices.
Are you ready?
Starting now?
Well, now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. Objects, I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
You know, but
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, really, this is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now.
All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And today, well, a couple of things. Today's the day of love.
It
VD,
is.
The D and the V day, or is it the V and the D day?
Yes. Well,
Well,
you know.
Okay,
depends.
so it was the VD day, but the D goes in the V. If you're lucky
Right.
enough, if the D has a V, the V could always get D.
Right.
But can the D always get V? No.
No. If that's what you're into, you know,
yeah.
I mean, it could be DD day or VV day or whatever, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
Any
that's a
combination.
That's a goddamn good point. Okay. Side note. Speaking of V and the V, so did you listen to Mark Maron with Mo, the comedian Mo? God, why can't I think of her last name now? She's a female comedian that he had on last week, I think.
I did not.
And I don't know if I've ever heard of her, but in talking about, she's openly she's open about her lesbianism and whatever, goes up on stage and, you know, jokes about that's like big part of her act. But I don't know, she was talking about something and either somebody either DM'd her something about scissoring, you know, and
All
she
right.
goes, she's like, no, she goes, that happens about as often as what, or is she goes, that happens about as often as 69 for a normal couple. She said, you know, either when you're newly in there and on drugs or something like that. But she's like, or she's like drunk or on drugs, but she's like, yeah, we don't go around scissoring all the time, just so everyone knows. And I'm like, wow, note to self. Okay, I did not know that. So. Speaking of scissoring, no, it had nothing to do with anything. But you said V in the V, so that's your fault. You brought
Okay.
it up.
I will take that all. And you know, I said D&D too. So
Yeah, you
know.
did. I got no jokes about that. I mean, hey, what you know, we've been very open about that. We don't give a shit what you do as long as you're not fucking around with, not ruining somebody's life. You know, just
right.
Be good to whatever you want to do with your body and your D and your V. Fucking be happy with that.
Absolutely. And while we're going on here, I looked. It's someone named Mo Welsh.
There you go. And it was first of all, they started talking about, she did this YouTube thing because she does this whole thing. It was called you know, Dad Jokes or whatever. That's her comedy special. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
So I ended up watching that because they were talking about it. So I watched that, you know, and then finished the episode. She's enjoyable, and they had a good conversation. It was a lot of fun. I mean, listening to them, but I never heard of her before. But yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, she was good. It was just a great conversation. But
cool.
Yeah, she said that for whatever reason, here's the other thing. She's like, she seems to attract, you know, a lot of like military people, soldiers and stuff like that. She's like, she'll get a lot of, you know, these guys DMing her, like, oh, you know, God bless America, we're back, blah blah blah. And like, if you ever come through wherever,
right.
you know, look me up, I'll buy you a steak. And then she's like, you know, kind of like, okay, whatever. And then the guy's like, what this, I guess this one guy said to her, he's like, hey, he goes, that lesbian character that you do, that's great, that's a lot of fun. She's like, yeah, it's not a character.
Right.
the lesbian character you do on stage. And I mean,
God.
her entire fucking act is she openly's like, this is
Right.
me, you know?
Yeah. Hi. Yeah.
She's not trying to hide it, you know?
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, apparently, that's the only way people can accept something. Oh, that character you do, because it can't be real.
Right. Let me buy you a steak because you like dudes like me that want to buy you a steak. That's
Right.
that's some
Jesus
chick
Christ.
that you're married to and have a child with.
Right.
But,
God.
yeah, exactly. So, all right. So enough of the V and the D, I think, for now. Maybe we'll get back to scissoring later. I'm fine
I'm
with
sure
it.
we will.
I'd be more than happy to talk more about it. But today, and I started doing the math. I don't know. I thought about it a couple of weeks ago. Today is
Mhm.
the end of this episode's the end of season 6.
Ooh.
Not that anyone gives a fuck.
Right. Not that it means a goddamn thing.
The only thing it means is we've done 26 episodes in a row,
Mhm.
and we decided the only reason that we, just to kind of recap for everyone, not that you care, but
Right.
it was just on our website, our episodes were split into season, and to make it more manageable if people were trying to look up our episodes.
Mhm.
That's the only reason I thought of splitting it that way. And then
Right.
I'm like, I don't know, other people are doing it like twice a year, and Mike's like, I don't care, whatever.
Right.
Well, what was it a couple months ago when I asked what season we were in? You're like, I don't know, 3. But again, I mean, it means nothing. It's 26 episodes in a row, and that's all that it fucking means. And I literally have to sit down and do the math every time we have to split it out. So a reminder popped up, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess today is the day. So season finale.
Right. The grand finale.
And maybe we'll be back. Who fucking knows, right?
Right.
But other quick things here. We do have a guest coming up next week. We'll talk about that.
Mhm.
One of our good friends, a previous guest, was on another podcast this week. I want to mention that.
Yeah.
Got a book review. Want to just mention that's kind of my own thing. Want to mention,
Right.
and then in that same individual wants to come on the podcast. I'll explain why again. But on a side note, and I'm sure you saw it too. I'm going to bring the room down here for a minute, but it's a fact of this whole thing that we do. Our buddy in Cleveland died, Derek.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, I've got a son named Derek. I've been talking about my son, Derek
Mhm.
T. in Cleveland.
Mhm.
Good friend of ours. It was he was in the Keating Center when we first got there, right?
Yeah,
Or shortly after
absolutely.
that. Okay,
Yeah,
that's what
right.
I thought.
He was there with us at some point. Yes,
That's what I thought.
definitely.
Okay. But I don't know any details. I pretty much know what happened. He's one of us, and I know his story.
Right.
But either way, I would feel remiss not talking about it. So
Mhm.
that's something I think would be a good idea to talk about, because you know what? It's a fucking part of this whole goddamn thing, whether we
It
like it or
is.
not. We don't
Yep.
like it.
No, we don't, but it's there. Right. We don't have to like it. It is. It exists.
Yeah, and everything we already talk about, and just as a brief thing right now, is the ripple effect, the negative ripple effect I've already seen, and it's fucking terrible, and it
Mhm.
just it again, it I don't know. We'll talk about it. So
Right.
there. Can we go back
Right.
to talking about scissoring again? It's more fun.
It is. Yes, absolutely. And
But
and a shout out to Marty and Michelle. Gracie, they had to put her down today.
oh, did they see? I
Yeah.
saw that. I saw that she went into the and that's Marty. We talk about Michelle. We talk about, but
Right. The directors of the Keating Center, male and female, right?
yeah,
And they're married and blah 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 blah. And yes. Yep.
and
So
she was like a little poodle or Shih
I
Tzu or
don't know, some little white thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
but she kind of almost looked like Katniss and Tugger. I mean, she was a little
Yeah.
dog like that, but
Little mop.
right. But the thing that I remember about that, I remember when Marty and Michelle first got together. How long have they been together? 7, 8 years, something like
Oh
that.
yeah.
If I'm
Probably. Yeah. Yeah.
at least right.
Right.
And when they first got together, and I think when they obviously when they moved in, and I remember Marty, we were someplace, and Marty's like, God damn it, she wants to get a dog. He's like,
Uh-huh.
I don't want to get a dog. We're not getting a fucking dog. There's no way
Right.
we're getting a fucking dog. Guess what? They got a fucking dog, and
Right.
that's Gracie.
Yes. And
I mean,
Marty fell fucking in love. That was, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No way I'm getting a dog. Oh my God, this dog is the most wonderful thing in the fucking world.
Yep. Yeah. And Marty even posted today, and I mean, maybe it was after they put her down. I didn't see all the comments, but he said, yeah, he goes, damn, he goes, that was, she's our baby, type of thing. So, and that's what she was, but, which, and it is, I mean, animals are no longer tied up in the backyard, hopefully, with
Right.
people, and the animals are actually part of the family, and
Mm-hmm.
animals sit on the couches and lay on the beds, and
Yep.
they're your family. So, but well, that's too bad. I mean,
Yep.
condolences out to them. That's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we brought down the room again.
Try to come out of these goddamn up-tempo records and you give me a dead dog story. If anybody knows what that reference is, God bless you. Email me.
I think I can guess where it came from, but I don't know. I'm not going to say it. You can.
No, it's Casey Kasem. It's an outtake from when he was doing the American Top 40.
Oh, was it?
And he rants out. Oh, it's a beautiful tape. I'm sure it's on YouTube. I've heard it on radio shows left and right. They play it. It's Casey raving out, and yeah, coming out of these goddamn up-tempo records, and I got a dead dog story.
It's two things. Does anyone know who Casey Kasem is anymore? Look him
Probably not. Well,
Look him up.
yeah, it's our listeners.
No, I know, but yeah, that's true. We still have the majority of our listeners are of our age or right within that range. But I was thinking it was like a WKRP type of thing. That's what it sounded like to me when you
Right.
said that. I would have guessed that, not Casey Kasem. That's even more fucking funny than it's Casey Kasem.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking of that, real quick, I just said the F word. Okay, so Mike.
Yes.
Last episode, because I've been forgetting to obviously check on these things or even pay attention to them. Last episode, last week, how many fucks did we have?
I'm turning on, let's see, last week, what the hell are we doing? I want to say it was a little low.
Okay, you'd be wrong.
I'd be wrong.
Yeah, go the other direction and look. Kind of reach for the high.
Hey, Casey Kasem, reach for the stars.
Yeah, reach for the
Keep
stars.
Keep your feet on the ground and reach for the stars.
reach higher than you think we've gone before.
Ooh, wow.
And I checked twice.
Okay. Did we hit 200?
We did. 200. 210.
All right. Woohoo!
I seriously, I was just, I don't know, whatever day it was. I'm sitting down and I'm putting because I do the transcript. I'm putting it through. I'm like, oh, fuck, I haven't done this in a while. So I did, you just do a word search in a Word document because I got to put it in a Word document and then throw it into Pod Page. And I looked at it, I'm like, that can't be right. And it's even after, because I take your name, I take the fuck knuckle part and I replace that. I have it replace it with Mike. So in our transcripts, it says Mike and Bill. So I mean, it's not even, all these things are not even including the fuck in your fuck knuckle name, And I mean, because that shows up. I mean, your name shows up like 400 or 500 times in an episode.
No,
where mine.
I mean, I could change that to make it easier for you.
No, it takes 4 seconds.
Okay, well,
because you do a search, and I type in search for fuck knuckle, replace with Mike, click, and it goes, and it just does it all. And 517 of them, it's like replaces them all. But it used to, when we first started doing this, my name was my email address for some reason for when we signed up. So I used to have to do both of them, but now it grabs my name for some reason. And your fucked uncle, it's fine. It's I mean, I like the fact that it's on the episode, but I just figure in the transcript it's easier. It's easier to more clean, and when it's going out to all these places, and I want to make sure the transcript gets picked up. Some fucking tight ass Google or Apple or whoever the fuck these people are, they'll be like, well, there's a lot of fucks in this transcript. 574? What?
Right.
But so 200 and 210, which I think that's our record. So
that beautiful.
Yeah, without even trying, were we mad about something last week? I don't think so.
Yeah, right. Like I said, I mean, I kind of thought back a little bit when I thought we were a little low last week.
You're funny. You're like, God, last week was good. I wasn't pissed off about anything.
Yeah.
We talked about light stuff and 210. What the hell?
So apparently we say fuck more when we're happy.
You know what? Fucking A right. All right.
That's right.
All right, so 12 and a half minutes into this, are we ready for a reading yet? Let's get back to some basics here.
I mean, that, or I could play the Casey Kasem tape because I just found it.
Did you? You know what? I mean, I would love to, but I am scared to death of any sort of copyright type of things. I don't know.
It's YouTube. And yeah, I mean, it's been played on, like I said, dozens of radio shows. I know other people play it.
Okay. Yeah. If you can get that exact clip, and let's hear it.
And this one is about kids and pets and a situation that we can all understand, whether we have kids or pets or neither. It's from a man in Cincinnati, Ohio, and here's what he writes. Dear Casey, this may seem to be a strange dedication request, but I'm quite sincere, and it'll mean a lot if you play it. Recently, there was a death in our family. He was a little dog named Snuggles, but he was most certainly a part of... Let's start again. I'm coming out of the record. Play the record, okay? See, when you come out of those up-tempo goddamn numbers, man, it's impossible to make those transitions. And then you got to go into somebody dying. You know, they do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for, but goddamn it, if we can't come out of a slow record, I don't understand it. Is Don on the phone? Okay, I want a goddamn concerted effort to come out of a record that isn't a fucking up-tempo record every time I do a goddamn death dedication. Now, make it, and I also want to know what happened to the pictures I was supposed to see this week. This is last goddamn time. I want somebody to use his fucking brain to not come out of a goddamn record that is that's up tempo, and I got to talk about a fucking dog dying.
It goes on a bit, but you get the gist.
No, that's awesome. So yeah, if you kids out there don't know who Casey Kasem is, just look him up. I mean, yeah, you did Casey Kasem, American Top 40. Back
Well,
when
you
there was
kids, he was the voice of Shaggy in Scooby Doo.
Oh shit, yeah. God, I almost forgot about that. Okay,
So there
yeah.
you go.
Yeah, so people probably literally heard him, but probably didn't have no idea who the fuck he was. So yeah, that's great. That's fucking wonderful. So all right,
that just makes me happy. I love that tape.
No, that's good. I don't know that I've ever heard it before, so that's good. That's awesome.
Well, it's on the old YouTube. You can find it. It's the full thing. Yep. Anyway, goddamn death dedication. All right. Reading.
Yes.
I have to shift gears here. Let me put the clutch in. All right. Here we go. All right. Well, yes. Valentine's Day, Scissoring Day, VV Day, DD Day. Here we go. This is today's Out of God Grant Me. I thought it was pretty good since we're doing our Love Spectacular season finale. I thought we'd do this one. So here it is, February 14th. Most people see the problem of love primarily as that of being loved, rather than that of loving, of one's capacity to love. Eric Fromm. I did not look him up. All right, you'll have to do it, along with Casey Kasem. Here we go. We want others to love us. We search to find love. However, recovery asks that we focus our energies on loving instead of looking for love. We are to work at increasing our capacity to love. Love and loving others helps protect us from our addiction. During our active addiction, we, quote unquote, loved to drink, do drugs, party, gamble, and go to the sex shops. We'll talk about that in a minute. Although we, quote unquote, loved to do these behaviors, these are not loving behaviors. These are self-centered behaviors. We learn in recovery that we need to do the work of love. We see a need and we work to be of service. We see someone hurting and we offer an ear to listen, or maybe we just sit with that person for a time so that they know that they are not alone. We have looked out for ourselves long enough. Now it is time to give back some of the love the world gave to us, which kept us alive during our addiction. Prayer for the day. Higher power, help me stop looking for love and teach me how to increase my capacity to love. Provide me with opportunities to be of service. Today's action, those pesky actions. Today, I will be of secret service to someone. I will do something for someone and expect nothing in return.
You know, when I read that this morning, I thought of obviously the way you end our episode
Right. So did
every
I.
week. Yeah, I was like reading that, and all the love, 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 and then I'm like, but yeah,
Mhm.
do something, and do something nice, and yeah, don't tell anyone about it, type of
Right.
thing. Um,
None of my good ideas are original. They're not mine.
right.
My life is unmanageable.
I don't manage my own life. These principles and these good people manage my life. See, I
That's right.
listen. I listen every once in a while. um, but I can't ask you if you did something, secret for somebody, because then you would be going against whatever. But I
Right.
know that this week, I'm sure that you've
Hmm.
done something for
Hmm.
somebody,
I have.
or a thought, or whatever it is,
Right.
going out of your way, even, and I suppose it could be, I say a thought or a quote unquote prayer or whatever the case
No
is.
thoughts and prayers. Fucking action. Something concrete. Go do something for someone else.
No. I agree. I said those. What I was going to say is those can be on the outskirts of it, but yes, I mean you
Mm.
need to, yeah, getting out there and doing something for.
Faith without works is dead.
Correct. So, and even if I had to try to think about it, I mean, I do, I try to do little things, but
Hmm.
here's the other thing, I do, and we talked about this before. There are sometimes it's hard to think about some of these things. It's like, when's the last time you did this? Well, I don't fucking know. It's part of my
Mm.
daily routine,
Hmm.
Oh, kind of funny. A little quick side note: the last Airbnb that I checked out, I got another great review, and I got called tidy again.
Ah, so
I,
I start calling you that?
I don't know. I guess so. But is this the new? Is this a new word coming back? The word tidy. I don't know, but
I, it's new to me.
and it was like, Don the old guy, and then these others that they're probably they're
Hmm.
youngish. But anyhow, and again, that was the same type of things we were talking about, last episode. Not really thinking about it. I didn't do anything for anyone out of the ordinary, but
Right.
that just made me think about it. But um, I don't. I know you don't. Well, maybe I don't know this. You
Mm.
don't necessarily walk out every day thinking to yourself, "I'm going to do something nice for somebody, and I'm not going to
No,
tell somebody
fuck
about
no.
it."
Of course not. No, 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 that's not the way my brain works. It never has, it never will. But that's the whole point. But I do those things because, again, I've conditioned myself because of this program. Working this program has conditioned me to, when I see a need and there's something I can do about it, I fucking do it. No, there is no thought behind it. Again, my thoughts are fucked up. My thoughts aren't going to send me that way.
Right. And I knew the answer. It's just more. It's more fun having you actually say the
Right.
fuck no. I
Oh,
didn't do
God, no.
that.
No.
And I think the other big thing, and especially if we've got, and I know we do, we've got people listening to us that are new-ish,
Hmm.
whatever that means, whatever that term means, but it doesn't have to be some grand gesture. A
Oh,
lot of
God,
times,
no.
it's the little things that mean the most to people,
Hmm.
because those are the things that they don't expect.
Right.
And you just again, holding a door or picking up a piece of trash, anything like that. It's
Yeah.
can give you 1,000 examples of it, but
Hmm.
doing something, whatever you don't want to do when you did it, whatever
Hmm.
you wouldn't have done back in your drinking days, but you
Right.
did,
Hmm.
and then all of these things become habit, right?
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Part of your life, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So that started off, and there was a couple of times it mentioned the capacity
Mm.
to love, which I
Right.
talked about all the things that we loved, all the bad things, and
Hmm.
alcohol and drugs and sex shops. You said we get back to, so let's.
Well,
Did you,
okay. Clearly, this is not the first time I've read that
right.
passage. And that one just, what the fuck is a sex shop? I mean, is it a shop you go to buy sex?
Right.
I mean, I'm assuming they mean. I mean, this book is not that old. I don't know what the fuck they mean by putting that in there. I would think more. A gentleman's club, a titty bar, if you will. Would be more along the lines of someplace we might frequent.
Right.
Porn's free on the internet now. You don't need to go to a sex shop. Um,
But in the thing of this, I mean, are they talking about like a store where you can buy, I don't know, fucking vibrators and dildos and
well, that's fucking Walgreens, man.
I was just gonna say, I was standing.
Again, the book's not that fucking old.
Right. And well, I was standing in line waiting for a prescription for mom, a few years ago, and
Right.
I posted it on Instagram. It was,
Yeah,
the last
right.
3 years, and I'm just standing there, and a couple of people in line, and it was, just out of COVID and shit like that, so people are still distancing. And I look to my left, and I get, whatever it was, all these fucking vibrators, and then they had whatever it was too. I think it was in that, maybe it was Walmart, where it had whatever the gel was, the different types of like KY jelly type of thing. It was something like warm up, it's now hot, come to me, whatever it was. It was in somebody, whoever stocked the shell,
Astroglide.
whoever stocked the shell put it in perfect order. I'm like, fucking kudos to that dude.
Right.
Or young lady, whatever it was.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know. Yeah, because the same thing, Walmart, Target, all those things. Again, sex shops. I giggled at that this morning. So I'm like, what? Yeah, same thing. I'm like, what?
All right.
One way or the other. I guess I didn't have a deep thought as far as what it meant, but a shop, I think, is store. So I guess I did think more of a, a toy store, an
Sure.
adult toy store.
Right.
Which,
right.
I mean, these days, fuck, everyone talks about it. Especially, fucking women are so open about it. I'm just like, tell me more. I want to hear more.
Right.
I'm a fan. Tell me more.
Absolutely. And I looked at, okay, so the book is 20 years old. It was in
That's
2000.
it?
Yeah, 2005.
God grant me it's from 2005.
Yeah.
Oh, that just blew my mind. Seriously, I would have thought that was back from the 70s.
Oh no. I knew
Okay.
it was, it's a newer, newer. It's fucking 20 years old, but yeah, it's newer. It's, not 90 years old.
Yeah, but just, I think back, 20 years is, you figure we're coming up at 50. So that fucking book was literally brand new when we got sober.
Pretty much. Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, it was 5 years old when we
Right.
got sober. Yeah.
That's crazy to me. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking of the 24-hour book. That's been around for a while.
That's from the 50s, right?
Yeah. So, but anyhow, so yeah, sex shops. I get it.
Yes.
But so the whole point with that though was that all the things that we had loved back then,
Mhm.
those were, the love that we had. It talked about being self-centered.
Yep.
And now we have to. I like the fact that said love rather than looking for love, we have to look to be loving.
Yes.
Which that I thought was kind of cool. So
Yeah.
thoughts on that? What runs through your mind when you hear that?
That's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah. It's definitely, a goal that would be, right on par with the absolutes. Well, one of the absolutes is love,
Right.
loving. Yeah. So, yes, it is. It's a pillar of this thing. Yes. Stop looking for love and try to have the capacity to love.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and I guess really what it comes down to, that goes back to what you talk about, where happiness is a byproduct of all this shit that we do.
Yep.
I don't mean that in a bad way. All the stuff
No.
that we do, but being or let's say receiving love is a byproduct of us being loving people. Then,
Yes. Yes.
and us doing the same thing. All these things, we become, individuals that that people have the capacity now. We give them the capacity to love us, right?
Right, exactly. Well, it's like Bob used to always say, it's AA math. It doesn't
Right.
fucking add up. But yeah, that's it. We receive this love, this true, powerful love that we get because we're not trying to get it. We're trying to give things away, and we get back multifold in return. It's wonderful. Don't know how it fucking works, but I'm glad it does.
Right. Yeah, it is. It's weird, and that's really what it comes down to. There's no other way to explain it than, the gentleman named Bob had it explained to us years ago, as it is.
Mhm.
AA math, you keep giving, and giving all this shit away, and you get more in return.
Yeah. Right.
What?
More than you'll ever get than trying to get it.
Right.
Yeah. What the fuck? Thanks.
It just reminded me of. Do you remember the movie Brewster's Millions?
Yeah.
With Richard Pryor?
Right.
Well,
Jackie Gleason, I believe, right?
Yeah, I'm sure
I think so.
did. Yeah, they did a couple of things because they did the toy together, and I'm sure that that was it.
Yeah. Shit. Anyway,
He might have been. He might have been. But in that movie, whatever it was, he inherited, let's say, $2 million or
Right.
even $1 million, and if he
Right.
could spend it and be penniless within like 30 days or something like that, then he would get 10 million. So
Right.
that was the game. I remember him. He was trying so fucking hard. I think he tried to invest. He hired this whole fucking team of people. And he's
Mhm.
got people that are, investing in like winning shit or actually getting, these investments to pay off. He's like, no, 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 no.
No. Right.
we're gonna fucking lose this. But it just reminded me of that concept. He was trying to give all the shit away and he just kept getting more back, And I don't know why I thought of fucking Brewster's Millions, but yeah, it's from 1981 or 79 or something like that, probably.
Early 80s, yeah.
Easily within that time frame, but no, I mean it was kind of funny when I started reading that this morning, and it didn't really phase me about the love thing, but then it kind of clicked, he said, I mean these books talk about it, love and love yourself and blah blah blah.
Mhm.
Then I'm like, oh yeah, this is a Valentine's Day thing, and
Right.
I'm like, or lined up at least, it's
Right.
not like they said, hey, happy Valentine's Day, drunky drunks.
Yep.
Let's let's read about love.
Right.
But no, it's a good reading because it is so true that, I mean, the beautiful part is not. Oh God, I don't even know right because I almost said not having to try
Mm.
to get all this good shit back, but that's kind of what it is. It's just
Yeah, it is.
we've been given this gift of how to live,
Mhm.
and finally get to the point where after a certain amount of time, or maybe now for us for a handful of years, or even we're still learning. Granted,
Sure.
but getting to the point where we don't really even have to try that hard
Mhm.
to get good things,
Right.
And again, don't get me wrong, people. All this we all have weird shit come our way. It's
Mm.
called living life. We still have
Mhm.
that,
Right.
but yeah, just it's fucking weird. It's weird in the best possible way.
It is.
All right. So, anything else? Anything else about the reading? I think that's pretty much all the little notes that I wrote down. But anything
Right.
else out of
No,
the ordinary?
no, I think we covered it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's get out there and get out there and love up on somebody.
Right.
Yeah. On the day of love. So, just a serious side note, though. So, you and Chris are floating tomorrow, and then you're going to dinner or doing whatever you
Yes.
said. Okay,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
nice.
Yeah. We're going to the Cleveland Jazz Orchestra. They're doing a
Really
Sinatra Gershwin evening. Yes. Yeah. It's going to be cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I mean, yeah, for you guys that know Chris, my girlfriend, she's a huge Frank Sinatra fan.
Right.
She has a Frank Sinatra portrait tattooed on her arm. Um, so yeah, we're gonna go do some Sinatra stuff and have a nice meal and hang out down on the river, down in the flats.
That's really nice. I mean, I knew you said you were going to get together and do something, but I didn't know what you. That's pretty fucking amazing that they would
Yeah,
have that too. I mean, that's nice, really
yeah,
nice.
yeah. What will we do if we stop drinking? Life will be boring, man.
Right, right. Well, actually, finally realize that there's all these different things going on.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I never knew that was there. What is that? That's the sun. That's a tree. That's water.
Yes.
Yeah, I put together. I don't know if you saw it. I put together this collage of pictures last night and started thinking about it. And I actually had to go back because I forgot when I initially mapped out all these places I was going over the last 7 weeks. I knew the mileage. I knew how many miles it was going to be, but I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
So I mapped it all again, and it was like just driving to these individual places were like I don't know, probably 36 or 3,700 miles. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, yeah, I easily drove another 200-300 miles. So yeah, it's like 4,000 miles by the time I get back to Indiana tomorrow. And I
Nice.
was like, I'm like, son of a bitch. But I mean, really, in the post, and I kind of was, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I mean, it was again 7 weeks, which I'm obviously 6 different places, and I
Mm-hmm.
just started looking at these pictures. I'm like, all these fucking memories, and because part of this stuff, and here's the problem still to this day, I enjoy the moments,
Right.
but the thing of it is, and what's I don't really see what tears me away, but what's weird sometimes is the fact that I'm just living my normal everyday work life during the week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Sure.
granted, like this week I'm in Lake of the Ozarks. I could look
Mm-hmm.
outside. There's a fucking lake. It's fucking cold,
Right.
but there's a lake out there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in Albuquerque or Amarillo or Phoenix, I'm just doing my shit.
Right.
When I get out and obviously go see these places, then it's like okay, then obviously I'm like, wow, this is all fucking cool, whatever. But then during the week, it's just during the week.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why I take a lot of pictures because I like to put them up on Instagram. I love the
Mhm.
memories that come back. I love being able to look back at pictures.
Sure.
But really, I just started looking. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ! All these different little places I got to see, all these different experiences, and then with Kimmy and Brian and out there, and then obviously your sister Peyton was out there. My
Mhm.
friend came in, and I mean all this different shit. And I'm like, Jesus Christ! I hung out with my friend Morgan and stuff like that at the beginning of the trip, and I don't know, I had this wave of gratitude.
Right. Good.
Yeah. And it's even with them like, well, God damn it, I had to buy a new car, all this different money I spent, all these things all this stress that I put upon myself, and I say stress,
Mhm.
quote unquote. And I'm like, what, fuck it, man. It all worked out. It's all gonna work out. And
Yep.
um,
And you
again,
got
it's the
to experience these wonderful
yeah,
things.
and
Yes.
it is. And then the other thing, and I'll talk about the book review here in a minute because that was the other thing that kind of hit me a little bit. When Elise wrote a book
Mhm.
review.
I actually
Um,
saw it.
yeah, and well, I guess I'll talk about it now. Then, so there's two things
Yeah.
I want to talk about with her. So, everyone, well, I don't know if everyone knows, but I'll say it again because we talk about them enough.
Mhm.
The Sober Curator, sobercurator.com. If you've never visited, if you're not following them on Instagram or you haven't visited their website, you should.
Yeah, what the
We
fuck's
are
wrong with you?
right. Yeah. Because not only are they friends of ours, we're contributors, we're sober
Mhm.
curators, we're all one big happy family, and they do a lot for us, and we try to do the same in return. But Elise had told me, I don't know, a few weeks ago, she's like, "Oh, I'm going to do a book review." I said, "Oh, that's cool. Whenever you get a chance. I mean, that's whatever. It's fine. It's cool." But it
Mhm.
was really fucking nice.
Yeah, it was.
And just when there was words in there that she put and lines in there that she put that just kind of hit me in the right way. I'm like, fuck, man, because really what she's talking about is just and once again the book talks about everything that I did to build up to and get to do what I do. And I say
Right.
that I'm allowed to
Mhm.
all those different things. And yeah, I mean, it's sobriety and this and that and blah blah blah. There's a lot of planning and all that stuff that goes with this.
Sure.
But it just
Footwork?
footwork, yeah, a little bit. Foundation, footwork.
Uh-huh.
But it was a really nice review, number one, but it really got me just thinking it again, going, Jesus fucking Christ. In these weird things, these little things like that, these waves of gratitude. And I'm like, I mean, not that I've worked for it and I pay for it and
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't say earned it, but I work for all this
Mhm.
stuff,
Mhm.
but still when I look at it, I'm like, Jesus Christ, what a fucking gift. What a
Yes.
goddamn gift. And I say it all the time, but I mean, things like that really put it into perspective for me that none of this fucking happens without this thing that we do every day. If I'm
Mhm.
not sober or if I decide to fuck around or do whatever,
Right.
be irresponsible, I could be sober
Mhm.
and still be
Oh, sure.
irresponsible.
Yeah.
Um,
Be a dick and right. Yeah, do all the wrong things. Absolutely.
right. Well, like you said, when I planned everything out, I'm like, yeah, I even got my gas money like budgeted out. You're like, Jesus Christ, you fucking got everything planned out. I'm like, well, I had to.
Yeah.
And it was like the just towards the end. I think for like the one of the trips, I mean, I actually put my gas money on a credit card because I'm like again with commissions and stuff like that. I'm like, just throw some cash over here. I can do
Mhm.
this, but all the other stuff, I mean, I had my gas budgeted in, but the same thing. It just I don't know. I felt really good. So if anyone gets the opportunity, yes, there I put a sale on a book. You don't have to buy the book. Read the book review. Elise says some really really nice things. It's on the Sober
Mhm.
Curator. It's on my website, the moderndayhobo.com. I put it on there. Also a link to it. But read the review. It's just fucking nice. Okay.
It is.
So in going back and forth with Elise, I told her, I'm like, I said, I truly appreciate it. I'm like, if there's anything, I said, I hope you know. And I said, I know you do, but I said, if I can do anything, if Mike and I can do anything for you, just let us know. And
Sure.
she's like, well, by the way,
Well,
yeah, now that you're
since
asking,
you're offering.
so I know she's about to launch a podcast with somebody. It's a sister of one of the sober curators. And I just know I know that the one sober curator, but anyhow, so she's doing the podcast, but also the sober curator podcast thing, which we've talked about on here.
Mhm.
That is slowly coming up to a launch. And Elise put in the email, she's like, with the launch of the podcast, whatever. I'll be honest, I forgot to ask. I don't know if she was talking about her podcast or the Sober Curator, whichever one is launching in March.
Mhm.
But she's like, I want to get out there and promote if I can come back on. I'm like, fucking A right. Just let me
Yeah.
know.
Absolutely.
let us know whenever you want to come on. It's fine. So.
Mhm.
We'll be having Elise back on, and the same. I was going to joke around and tell her I said no.
Right.
Nah,
Oh, absolutely not.
not a goddamn chance. My book review's already up. What are you gonna do? You can take it down, but no. but no. I mean, they, she even says she's like, well, you guys do a lot for us too. I'm like, oh, fuck it. It's whatever we talk about. Whatever we do, it's nothing. Come on
Mhm.
back on. Yes, we can all talk
Yes.
about podcast shit and whatever.
Yeah.
So that's all good.
Cool.
So again, our guest next week, his name is Alex, and
Mhm.
I took speaking of the Sober Curator, they did a book review on him, on his book. And I don't know, I just took a picture of the thing on the website. I don't know what the date was on here. Figures that's the only thing I didn't
Mm.
I didn't screenshot the date. But the guest we're going to have on next week, his name is Alex. His Sober Curator did a book review, but it's called "I Learned How to Love from Heroin" by Alex Schotten, spelled Schotten, and it
Mhm.
says sober poetry. So he does, and I know Mike and I read a couple of things out of it. It's like little short stories and poems and this and that. But we're going to have him on next week. But if you want to read the book review, again, go to Sober Curator.
Mhm.
I looked up the word Alex, but I was going to search heroin. I'm sure I would have found it either way. It's
Right.
under their book reviews. So take a look at that because he's going to be on next week, and it should be a lot of fun. I have no idea what to expect. We've never talked. He reached out to us randomly. There was this string of fucking people that we were getting reaching out, and I kept these people that books and projects, and I'm like, what do you got? Let's talk, whatever. Nobody got
Sure.
back to us, and he
Mm.
responded. So I'm like, well, I don't fucking know. But anyhow, so he'll be on next week. And our good friend, Dr. Sarah,
Mhm.
was on the Sober Motivation podcast. That's with the guy's name is Brad.
Uh-huh.
I've talked about his podcast before. It's one of my favorite sober podcasts that I listen to. And the cool part is that when we've had Dr. Sarah on, which has been twice, and I
Mhm.
didn't write down the episodes. You guys can fucking look it up.
Right.
We talked very, very little about her journey going up
Mhm.
to no drunk
Right.
along shit, whatever. We talked about the solution, and then the last episode, I don't even know what we talked about.
I
Everything.
don't know. She started psychoanalyzing us.
Oh yeah, she did. That was
It was fun.
It was interesting. Yeah, relationships. She started talking about relationships with us and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But she talked about some of her because that's the way Brad's podcast is. Sober Motivation Podcast is
Mhm.
his stories from childhood all the way through. Very
Okay.
structured. He does the same thing with every guest.
Right.
So I got to hear some more things about her, and I mean, she talked about the fact that she was a little wild, and I'm like, oh damn, there's some
Mhm.
stories. It was fun, But it was a good episode. If you have a chance, one way or the other, as I said, and I posted about it. Worst case scenario, it's Dr. Sarah. You'll love her.
Mhm.
It was a great episode. So yeah, hop over on that podcast also. And it's good. I like Brad. He's got a good setup, and he's far more popular than we are. But
Mhm. It's pretty low bar.
just gonna say, doesn't take much to get there. But he's a good dude. I've been listening to that. That's one of the ones I jumped into. He's not that much farther along than us as far as
Mhm.
episodes.
Right.
I think this is 156 for us. He might be coming up on 200.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, he's got this whole network of people, but good guests, good stories, and just a good setup. So listen
Cool.
to the Sober Motivation podcast. Okay.
Yes. All right.
So those are, I think those are all my little, those are kind of like show notes.
Right.
Do you have anything, Mike? Any show notes?
You know what? I do, as a matter of fact.
What?
Ready?
Yes.
We're going to be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober Not Mature.
Hi
and,
there.
yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have two websites now. So two websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.SoberNotMature.com. And we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's
Yes.
www.SoberNotMatureShop.com.
Ah.
But from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you
Right.
can access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
At least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me, 24 Hours, the Big Book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping, though. Okay, now I got to say www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. .com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is, again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
Did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone. You've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. All right, everyone. Welcome back. Yeah, you know what? It's like when I said really, because here's the sideline reason that I was kind of blown away by it. So we had a pre-show meeting, which again we talk about this enough. We rarely there's 99% of the things we talk about, we just fucking talk about them in here because we can.
Right.
But there was a couple of sideline things that we had to talk about, and Mike actually came to the table with 3 things tonight, which jokingly I said to him, but it's really probably not a joke. I see there's probably more things that he's had to talk about than the entire calendar year last year. I said, God, that's why when he said that again, I'm like, really? You got fucking more? But I like that. That was a lot of fun, and all I wanted to do was I wanted to start right off the bat laughing, but just no, I'll let it run. It's okay. It's okay.
Cool.
That might be the best one. So, all right. I have plenty. I got plenty of little things on here, but why don't we get into what we probably don't want to talk about? So,
okay.
Our buddy Derek from Cleveland died. What day was it? Tuesday? Wednesday?
Monday?
Monday?
Monday or Tuesday.
And again, just I popped on Facebook. I'm sure that's probably exactly where you saw it too. And
right.
it was his son. And his son posted, "Well, I didn't expect to get this call, but," and I'm like, motherfucker. So, have you heard details? I mean, I think I know what happened.
I haven't heard shit.
Okay, so Derek was one way or the other, like we were talking about at the beginning. So we went into the Keating Center in April of 2010. Okay. And, call it by whatever grace of whatever the work that we've done and blah, blah, blah. Thankfully, Mike and I have stayed sober since that time frame.
We haven't had to go back.
Yeah, haven't had.
We've gone back, but we've never spent the night there again.
we were invited back. Marty graciously asked us if we wanted to live there again, and in one of the dorms after they kicked us out of the not kicked us out, but what I mean, the 3/4 house.
After they switched the 3/4 house over to a women's house.
Yeah, and we weren't allowed to stay, even though we tried.
We tried. We'll stay. We'll help the girls. Yeah, come on in, ladies.
But there's a lot of people, and a lot of people that have bounced back and forth. A lot of people have died. It's just it's part of this fucking thing. And I obviously it's an understatement to say that we don't like it. Nobody likes it. But some of these things. Well, let me step back a little bit. So, however it was, whether Derek was there when we first got there or early on, he was a big part of our early recovery, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
And then he also worked at the Keating Center, or was kind of Marty's assistant for a while.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, I mean, he was deeply involved in that sort of thing. I don't know how much time that the longest amount, but unless I'm mistaken, the longest amount of sobriety that he had was probably in that beginning time frame, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
don't
mean, right, yeah. It may have been. He may have put together a little bit more somewhere there in the last 15 years, but yeah, he was definitely in and out.
right. And didn't he have? I know he had some health issues. Did he
Sure.
have asthma or something like that? Some sort of lung.
Something. Yeah, right. Health issues, definitely. Clearly as a consequence of our
Right.
lifestyle, that'll tend to happen to us.
So yeah, he would bounce around and he would be in and out of the hospital for whatever that stuff
Right.
was. But I mean, I mean, he was sober and had um, again all the things around him that we did and blah blah blah. But I don't know. I don't even know how. He's been friends of both of ours
Yeah.
on Facebook for years, and
Mm-hmm.
I see him. He'll pop up every once in a while, or
Right.
did.
Yeah. Well, and
Like,
clearly, I'm still in town, so I, see him at,
oh, would you? Okay,
functions and stuff. And yeah, I mean, or he'd be back and, whatever. And we'd be doing a fundraiser and he'd be there and I'm back. Okay, good.
right.
Stay this time, man.
Yeah, and I guess I didn't even know that he had like actually popped back into the Keating Center. But then again, I haven't.
Yeah.
It's been
Right.
fucking 10 years since
Yeah.
I've been out of town. But
Right.
um, but yeah, I know that he bounced around and that sort of thing, and um, would see him pop up on Facebook every once in a while and be like, "Oh, nobody loves me," or "Nobody reached out to me,"
Mm.
and whatever it is. And then for the longest time, I'd always see Marty post, "You know where to go, come back home," that sort
Right.
of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and just it was just almost this endless cycle of him
Yeah.
attention seeking. I mean, sort of, kind of through there.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you're talking about byproducts of the program, we don't throw our pity parties for ourselves anymore.
Right.
But that's certainly as active addicts and alcoholics, that's part of the lifestyle, man. Feeling sorry for yourself, right? Yeah. Mm.
And I mean, the again, like I said to begin with, the number of people that we've known, I mean, I've lost count. The number of
Yeah.
people that have died, and
Hmm.
that's it's a shame. I mean, these faces, and there's some people I remember the face, but I can't remember
Right.
the name, type of thing,
Hmm.
and it's a shame. But a lot of times, majority of the time, I mean, things like this. I mean, it's kind of almost these awe moments. These, the I don't get depressed, but they kind of bum me
No.
out.
No.
But you know what? I guess maybe I want your input on this one. I'm not really sure why. I think I know why, but this one makes me mad.
Mm.
A little bit angry,
Hmm.
and I think, I mean, it kind of it still bums me out, but also mad only in the sense, kind of everything that I had just, kind of said. And I was thinking to
Hmm.
myself, I'm like, why does this fucking piss me off? Is because just I don't know. I mean, it just everyone. A lot of people have everything that we were given so
Sure.
freely. Um, he had all these opportunities. He literally had people trying to pull him off the bar stool, type of thing.
Hmm.
People reaching out. He wasn't left alone. He wasn't, even though he would, again, the pity parties, you say, he wasn't shunned, anything like that.
No.
And it just part of me, I was like, you motherfucker,
Hmm.
because it's good. I mean, all of us are. We're good fucking dudes, when
Right.
when we're doing our thing. But and I guess the more I say it out loud, I'm not really mad. It's such a fucking shame. To
Yeah.
begin with, I was mad when I saw it. But then the
Hmm.
other thing I thought about is because it was his son that posted it,
Right.
and then that just kind of popped into my head. Maybe that made me mad because thinking about what one of my kids would have to post something about me,
Right.
and maybe that's why it made me mad. Not mad at him, but mad at the situation. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Mad at the dirt, mad at the disease, man. Yeah.
Right.
Right. Mad at the selfishness and self-centeredness and the,
Right.
the the bullshit that we buy into, that we're not hurting anybody but ourselves, and we truly fucking believe it. And yeah, it's fucking awful, man. I'm grateful that I don't fucking believe that lie anymore, but I certainly did for a long time.
And
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's it. And sometimes, I knew for a fact, if I just, even rambled on for a couple of
Mm-hmm.
minutes, I'd not figure it out. But I
Right.
think I just did.
Yeah.
Why I was mad. I was mad thinking that, I don't want to be, um, I would be mad at it if it were my kid or
Mhm.
my children, either one of
Mhm.
them, that had to be the one posted on Facebook. Oh, by the way, I
Yeah.
got this phone call and there's no life insurance. There's no fucking plan.
Yep.
My kids being on Facebook and having to do a goddamn GoFundMe to fucking
Mhm.
burn up my ass and throw me in a goddamn dumpster,
Yeah. Yep.
And it just that made me angry. Probably, and again, it wasn't. And come to think of it now, it wasn't at him. It was at
No.
the, it was at the
Mm.
thought of.
And I mean, and yeah, well, mad that we that we allowed ourselves to live that way for so long.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Right. Because that be, right. 15 years ago, that absolutely would have been the case.
Right.
Yeah. I 15 years ago, I didn't have any fucking shit in place to have that taken care of. I do today,
Right.
But yeah, could have very easily been either one of us and would have been either one of us had we not started doing what the fuck we were supposed to do finally. Well,
Yeah, and I may have had I may have had a small, I don't know, whatever it is, the place I was working, I may have had life
mhm,
insurance that they
right.
just gave me because I had health insurance.
Mm,
But I probably had like $10,000 or
yeah,
something like that.
right. Yeah. I mean,
You know,
I don't know much more than that, but yeah, that's, that's what that's for. I'm not looking to take care of them for the fucking rest of their lives. That's not my job.
right,
Yeah, no, my job is to, when I fucking cack over, here's the money to burn me up.
right,
Yeah, so it's not a burden.
right. Yeah, and I had a I think when was it? When I left the job uh, the job I had in Milwaukee. When I quit
Mm-hmm.
that job, I took out a like a side life insurance policy. And I think that, I mean, I'm still I almost canceled it, but I think it's $50 a month and whatever it is. It's just, I think whatever it is, it's term life insurance. And then I get, I think I've got, I've got enough life insurance for them, for my kids to pay off my debt and have some money
Right. Yeah,
left
that's it.
over,
Yeah.
and the only thing I got, if my kids ever listen to this, just so you know, you lost about, when I bought this car, you lost about 14 grand, because I only owed like six on my other car.
Uh-huh.
And now I owe like 20 something. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
There you go.
it's 14-ish that you got to get back. Unless, okay, here's the good news. If I die in a car accident and the car's totaled,
yes.
you get it all.
There you go. Well, let's thoughts and prayers.
Special attention. But yeah, see, that's the thing. I don't want. I have a, and I do. It's so stupid. I set myself a reminder every Sunday. I've got a will all done on my computer.
Uh-huh.
I just need to print it off and I've got to get it, witnessed by two people, and then,
Right.
Do some handwritten things to get passwords. Cause I mean, there's so much electronic shit. I've
Mhm.
got, maybe 3 different passwords I could use. All somebody needs is my phone. If
Mhm.
you have my phone, you can get into anything that I have, because if you don't know how to get into something, you can reset a password. You're going to get a fucking email or a text,
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I gotta, and again, I mean, I've got life insurance in place. I mean, my kids are fine. I was going to say taken care of. I've got enough to pay off all of my bills and burn my ass up and
Yep.
throw me wherever you want to fucking throw me.
Yep.
Because I don't want to be buried anywhere, and I think I put that in there. I think I put something like, it's like, what do you want to, because it is this walkthrough type of thing. It's like, what do you want done with the ashes type of thing? And I'm just, you put a note there. I'm like, whatever my kids want to do, just someplace beautiful. If you want to keep some of me, fucking keep it. I don't give a shit.
All right.
But the rest, just someplace beautiful that you think is appropriate. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't fucking care. But the thing of it is, though, is that now with this, I mean, I need to print that off. I need to get a fucking witness. I need to do that. It's done. It's on my computer. It's done. Just I just haven't printed it off. But but I mean, that is the whole thing. It's just that I don't even remember how old his son is. It doesn't even fucking matter. He's probably in his 20s. I'm guessing.
Yeah, maybe even older.
Yeah. But
because I mean, he was like our age, wasn't he?
Yeah, he might have been ours or older.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm, I'm going to be older in a few days, so.
Are you coming? Is it 60 this year?
No, 58.
I know better.
It's close, but yeah. Yeah.
I know better. Yeah, I was just talking to a friend of mine today, and a friend of mine I haven't talked to in a while, and I just sent her a text, kind of seeing how she was doing or whatever. And her and her husband had moved out to God, I can't remember where they somewhere out west, Colorado, Phoenix, Arizona, whatever, blah blah blah. And just again, check it in. And she's like, "Oh, I got the flu. I haven't felt well, blah 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 blah."
Mm.
But I don't know, whatever it is. She's like 45 or just turned 45. I'm like,
Baby.
I know that's why I said something about. I'm like, oh yeah, she was talking about a job thing. She left this one job and she's like, I want to go, I want to do this. And this was too much. I'm like life's too fucking short, man.
Right.
I said, you're young and you're ambitious. I said, you'll figure it out. She's like, I really appreciate you called me young. And I'm like, well, I just turned 56,
Right.
And then, but what she said, which was kind of nice, she goes, you know what? She goes, the older, she goes, I really appreciate, aging now.
Yeah.
She's like, I think we have the ability, she's sober, that helps.
Mhm.
But she's like, I think we become better people, as we age.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? I agree with that because it's, and again, if we got the rest of our lives, taken care of and, like you and I have talked, I mean, did you ever think you were gonna? I mean, I'm gonna make fun of you when you hit 60, but
Oh yeah.
did you have a prayer? You didn't have a prayer in your
No,
fucking.
hell no. I mean, yeah, right. When I turned 50, people were like, "Are you freaked out?" I was like, "Fuck no, man. I didn't think I was making it this far. I'm
Right.
happy I turned 50, and I'll be happy when I'm turning. Well, I'm not that happy, but you know,
Right.
because yeah, you're officially fucking old when you're 60. But
Yeah, that is kind of true.
yeah,
So yeah, speaking of old, real quick, I'm gonna take a quick side note
yes,
because I still want a couple of notes about Derek. But
yeah,
so did you watch any of the Super Bowl? I mean, the game itself. I mean, it
no,
was what it was. I sat and watched it. Commercials, some of them were fun,
nope,
but so T-Mobile had a commercial about they've partnered with Starlink, which is the Elon Musk
right,
satellite thing,
mm-hmm.
and had this whole thing about blah blah blah. And if you can see the sky, you can have connections, and they're showing people in outlying areas. I'm like, I gotta fucking look into that,
Right,
because that's the point. I mean, there's been certain areas where 80% of the time, 75% of the time, I have a cell phone signal where I'm at.
right,
Um, but when I was in West Virginia, when I was in all these mountains in North Carolina, all these
mm-hmm.
different places, I mean, I had no fucking cell phone service. And
Yeah.
some of these places, literally, it's like you cross into now you're in whatever national park, and you look at
Right,
I look over my phone and it's fucking dead. Not dead, but
yeah,
I don't have a goddamn service.
right, right,
So what they're doing is it's in like this beta mode program between now and July. I think they're going to give you, if you switch to T-Mobile, they're going to give you that extra service, quote unquote, for free because it's
mm.
still in a test mode, and then you're going to get it at a lower rate if you're one of the early adopters. Blah blah blah.
Hmm.
But the key to all this, and I am going to look into it because the other thing is they're like oh, we've got the senior plan,
Right, yeah, that I know, right,
yeah, for 55 and older, and it's
yeah,
55 a line. And I'm like, I was telling Kimmy, I said, well, here's the deal. Because Kimmy's been on my cell phone plan for years,
right,
And I said, well, here's the deal. I said, this makes sense for me.
mm-hmm.
Um, this and the senior plan, but it's a satellite thing. And I think it's just, it'd be an intelligent thing for me to do, even if it were the same cost.
Right,
Because having that, it might just be text ability to begin with, but still,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
just safety.
Yeah,
So
absolutely,
then I'm like, well, I said, if you don't want to switch to T-Mobile, you don't have to. I said, but I think I have to get two lines. This senior plan,
mm-hmm.
you got to get two lines to get this price. And I was texting her to begin with, just the brief notes, and then I called her last night. But when I was texting her, she's like, you don't really seem like a senior, but okay. And I'm like, on paper I am. And I'm like, fuck
Right,
it. I'm finally going to let it pay off for me a little bit, if nothing else.
exactly. Just don't let them know the name of this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the thing of it is, and it might all said and done, it might come out to be the same price as what I pay with for Verizon.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, seriously, even if it's it's like for the first few months, it might be data only. But I
Mm-hmm.
think what they're doing, from what I read, is Elon Musk and Starlink and his company and all that stuff. They're going through I think all the FCC regulation shit to make sure that to end up getting voice and data on there,
Yeah,
which it doesn't say. They've already got Starlink is already active internet service.
sure.
That's already there, and now the texting part of it, I don't know if they're tying that in, kind of like that. That's just whatever. I don't know how they designate it. But I guess when it comes to the true communication, that's where the FCC comes in. Obviously, with the voice, I don't know, data, I don't know, whatever it is.
I don't know.
I don't see why it would be denied. Would be my point. But
Well, if only he had a friend in Washington he could talk to.
right, yeah, that's I quite honestly, I didn't even think about that. I get two things on that guy too in a minute, but
that guy,
that guy. But so remind me. I'm just gonna write it down. And hang on. I get just two things.
Speaking of, while you're doing that, speaking of Washington, I'm actually going to be going to Washington the beginning of May.
Really? What
Yeah.
for?
Cameron is getting his bachelor through the Air Force. You guys know he's Chris's son. Hi, Cameron. He listens to this show.
Hello, Cameron.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, they're having the ceremony in Washington, D.C. the first weekend of May, and we're going.
Nice.
Yeah. Just bought our plane tickets this week, and so it's there. And I've actually never been to D.C. I've been through D.C. I've certainly driven around D.C. I rode a bus through D.C. one time, but I've never actually been there. So it's going to be kind of cool. Long weekend, Friday through Sunday.
Right. And that was actually going to be my question. I was going to say it jokingly because you've been everywhere, but
right.
So in May in DC, is that when the cherry blossoms are up and around?
I think it's earlier.
Is it? It's probably April.
Yeah.
I think.
Right.
Because we did. I've been to DC twice, and we did we went there. I think I told you this, a band trip, and we got to actually march in the cherry blossom parade, which is pretty fucking cool.
Cool.
I don't know how our band teacher knew somebody that knew somebody, whatever.
Right.
But we did that. Very cool. So that was junior year in high school. And then Dawn and I went out there. A company I was doing some writing for had their holiday party. So we went out in, again, January, which it had snowed a couple of days before, but it was nice when we were there, and that's when we kicked around and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But it's cool. It's fucking expensive. I mean, and, at the time, clearly I was still drinking, but
right.
I mean, every place, it just, whether it's parking or doing anything, it's really fucking expensive, but it's very cool. It's very, very cool.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that.
So where are they having the ceremony? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know. Some military thing, something. I would imagine.
Well, that's a silly question.
I seriously do not know.
Right. But no, I think especially May. I think May the weather turns in the right direction in that time frame. So that should be nice. Well, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So all right. So a couple of quick wrap up things with with our buddy Derek in Cleveland. I don't know. I mean, everything we talked about. Relapse does not have to be part of this. This thing that we do.
No, it does not.
And the thing of it is, and we've talked about it openly. No, I have not relapsed yet. It's not lost on me the fact that people do. I understand why people do, which maybe is part of the reason why I haven't.
Right.
But I do the work. Yes, I have the support. Yes, I keep doing the things I need to do, all that sort of stuff. But it's not lost on me that it's not lost to me that it could happen. I don't feel above anyone else.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be, and it just it bums me out, especially when we've got people that went through, literally lived the same thing that we did, had the same people and the same go back to the reading, the same love coming back at them,
right,
and the same gifts coming at them, and the Daryls and now the Derricks and now all these different people,
right,
and they end up dying, and it's fucking it's tragic and it's sad, and it's to me it's fucking pointless. It's I don't know, not pointless, but you know what I mean. It's just
right. But
tragic.
Again, well, I'm going to quote Bob again. It's an inside job. We've got to do the work. We've got to do the things to change our insides. Otherwise, it doesn't work. We have no choice. Fucking powerless over the seas, gunning, baffling, and fucking powerful, man. And if don't change the inside shit, man, I have no choice. I drink and I use. That's who I am. That's what I am. I always will be, unless I do the things that they taught us to do to stay away from that first one.
Yeah, and I think back, and I can only speak for myself, but when I walked, when I was taken to the Keating
Uh-huh.
Center. And I joke about it, but it's true. I didn't want to go. I went because I thought I didn't have any place else to go. I thought I could just hang out there for a month or
Mhm.
two and just whatever.
Right.
I didn't know what I had no plan whatsoever. But sobriety was not part of my plan. But
Uh-huh.
I mean, the fact that these, the people that we were placed around, and I mean, yes, I know I had to have something. There was something in there,
Mhm.
but it was a gift. I mean, I was put in the right place at the right time with the right people, and somehow the right mindset. And then, once I got my shit together after 9 months,
Mhm.
yeah, I've done the work, and
Yeah.
it's I don't know, it's tragic. It bums me out that I feel for his son and his family, and all those people and that's the thing, all the people that we leave behind when we do this shit, the fucking pain,
Mhm.
and just the pain that we cause people, when we are just selfish motherfuckers. That's all it
Yep.
comes down to,
Yes, it does. Period.
exactly. All right, selfish motherfuckers, rest in peace, God damn it.
Well,
But no, seriously, I mean, I feel for his family.
yeah.
It's all I can say. Thoughts and prayers, special intentions, all that
Mhm.
stuff. All right. Okay, I get to I try not I don't want to talk about politics, but I have to talk
Good.
about this dumb fuck for a minute.
All right.
Really nothing to do with politics as far as just this is like him being an 8-year-old, which is more majority whatever. So the whole Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America thing, I don't understand it. It reminded me immediately of back when whoever was that Bush that was president that started calling them freedom fries rather than French fries.
Ah,
Who
yes.
who was that? Was that Bush?
I believe that was Bush 1.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and I'm like, fucking freedom fries? Really? No, I'm getting the order of fucking French fries.
Mhm.
It has nothing to do with goddamn French. It's a food.
Right.
And it's a body of water. It's a thing. It's the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
What the fuck is wrong with that?
Mhm.
And then now, did you see what Google did? So Google Maps has, if you are in America, it shows Gulf of America.
Oh,
If you're in Mexico, it'll on Google Maps it'll show Gulf of Mexico.
all
If
right.
you are in I don't know, Finland, for instance, if
Yes.
you looked at it, it would show Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, or other way around, whatever. It's got both names on it.
Okay.
And now apparently somebody, and I just saw the blurb of the article today and I just laughed and didn't even look at it, but somebody out there or some group out there is trying to sue Google Maps, I think, for changing it or
Mm.
something. I'm just like, oh
Ah,
my God.
all right.
I don't understand it. I'm not looking for an explanation. I just want to say I don't understand. It's like again an 8-year-old. Like I want to call that.
Right. Exactly. Well, I mean, I saw a nice meme that said the Gulf of Van Halen.
I saw the Gulf of Metallica. I saw the Gulf
Ah.
of I call it that. I saw the Gulf of I forget what they had. They had something. They had the Gulf of Cowboys Still Suck, and they had and they
I like that one.
yeah, the Gulf of Cowboys Still Suck, and then it's like the one they showed the water spread all the way up into Dallas, which I thought that was funny.
That's good.
And then I saw, like all the different lakes, like renamed, all the Great
Ah,
Lakes renamed
yes.
by the Canadians.
Yes, right. I saw that as well.
Then there was, of course, Wisconsin people wanting to change Lake Michigan to Lake Wisconsin.
Sure.
And then the funniest one I saw, because you know what Quick Trip is, the gas station,
Sure.
whatever. So it was Gulf of Wisconsin brought to you by Quick Trip. And I'm like, that's fucking funny because
That's good.
yeah, you can't go anywhere in Wisconsin without seeing a goddamn Quick Trip. But
No, you cannot.
so that was that whole thing. But then did you hear that he wants to buy Greenland?
Yeah, I saw something about that.
Okay. So, here are two things. I don't know if it's the country or, I mean, he's probably got the money. You could buy it on his own if you wanted to, I suppose. But I don't know, whatever it is, whether it's him or whatever. Did you hear what he wants to rename it?
No, I did not.
Fucking Red, White, and Blue Land.
Ah.
I'm like, you're such a fucking child. It's like, I don't know. Again, walking around 8 years old, and I wanna name that, I don't know, Billy Drive or something like that.
Sure.
I want to name this, I don't know, Purple Yard. I'm like, really? And this picture of him is just this fucking infantile smile, just like he's,
Mm-hmm.
showing Trump, oh, Trump wants to buy Greenland. And I'm like, oh my God. If you want to buy Greenland, fucking go buy Greenland. I don't give a goddamn.
Right.
But really, you can change. Does everything have to be? I mean, you just
Mm.
gotta this. He could have said Trumpland. I suppose he could have said
Yeah, right. Well, I'm sure I'll put the sign up. Um,
red, white, and blue land brought to you by Trump. I
right.
don't know.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
just made me laugh. I don't understand the Gulf of Mexico thing. I don't understand renaming Greenland. But that's it. Is that political? That's just stupid. That's just stupidity on his
It's
part. So
just, yes, societal nonsense.
right.
That's why I stay locked in my house and make sure my mortgage is paid. And yep, and try to ignore all of that nonsense.
Right. So anyhow, that was a lot about nothing, but it honestly made me laugh. Okay. So, speaking of that, I wrote this down a while ago, and this has to do with you, my friend Mike, and because
All right.
I don't know the answer to this.
Okay.
How did you get started driving a truck?
Ah. um, let's see. Well, in 1977, there's a little movie called Smokey and the Bandit. 77, 78, something
Yeah,
like that.
in that
Right.
area.
Somewhere in there. Right. There's a man named Jerry Reed. And he was a wonderful songwriter and guitar player. And yes, he played a character called Snowman, Cletus Snow. And I don't know, just looked like a goddamn good way to live your life. Uh, and after the music thing tanked out, and so that wasn't happening, and what the fuck am I going to do with the rest of my life? I harkened back to seeing Jerry Reed driving that big old Kenworth and Smokey and the Bandit, and went, it looks like that could be a pretty good fucking life. So yeah.
That's and seriously, I mean, and for everyone out there, I mean, Mike and I have known each other literally almost 15 years, and
Mhm.
I know he drove,
Right.
before he got sober, and obviously
Yep.
took a break in there, but
Mhm.
I had never asked that question, and it just popped into my head one day when you were either when I was going back trying to schedule something to be on or whatever the case was. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, with Mike's schedule of driving a truck, and maybe somebody said, oh, he drives a truck. How long has he been doing that? I'm like, forever. However it was, it popped
Right.
in. I had no idea. Okay. So 77, you would have been what, 11?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you want to
10.
buy? Did you want to buy Greenland at the time too?
I did. How did you know?
but see, what a great, unintentional great segue that literally, I mean, but it's turned out to
But of
be,
course, I wanted to
your
change it to black and blue land, but
right. But I mean, it's turned out to be a great vocation for you and all those sort of
sure.
things. But at the time, literally, you watched a movie and you wanted to, it's kind of like somebody wants to be a cowboy, you wanted to be a truck
Yeah.
driver, which
Yeah.
is wonderful.
Yeah.
So you drove all the way through up until you got. How long before you got sober did you stop driving? Because I don't remember that part either.
Right. Right. No, actually, okay. So, I attempted sobriety when I was 32-ish, somewhere, I don't know, now a little older than that. Anyway, got into a program, blah 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 blah, and got hooked up to go to truck driving school again. It was at that point in my life, it was like, okay, I'm gonna have to do something. Yeah, harkening back to freedom, not chained to an office or a factory or whatever. Kind of a something I think I could live my life doing.
Right.
Yeah, so then I didn't stay sober, but I got my CDL. I only drove for a couple years at that point, and then it got out of it got silly because I was still drinking and couldn't maintain that anymore. And so yeah, again went back. I was out there. It was about 7 years I didn't drive, something like that. Yeah, at the end, the last 7 years. And then, yeah, then I got sober, and then I worked in that shitty metal shop for about a year and a half, and And then I was sitting at the book study at the Keating Center, and our buddy Wes walked in and said, "Hey, you still got your CDL?" I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "Here, call this number." I said, "All right." Went back out on the road.
Right. Yeah, that was great. We talked about that in one of the early episodes because it was whatever that dude Jack something that gave Wes the number, which was like a guy
Oh,
that you
yeah.
just the guy that you
No,
fucking
yeah.
despised, and for good reason, I think.
Right.
At the time, but
Mhm.
yeah, it just again, I didn't. I remember the truck driving school things. I remember that part of the story. I
Right.
never remembered. If I ever asked you,
Yeah.
kind of where that thought came in. But I mean, honestly, it's kind of cool, and I know that you specifically tried to get, for no better way to put it, make sure you had all your shit together before you start
Right.
driving again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because with Sandy, you were gone for sometimes up to 2-3 weeks at a time, right?
Oh,
If I
yeah.
remember correctly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. 2, 3, occasionally 4. Yep. Yeah, right. I was over the road when I drove before and was drinking, had a cooler in the back with a 12-pack of Budweiser and a fifth of Wild Turkey. Yeah, I didn't drink when I drove, but at the end of the day, when I shut down, that fucker came out, and yeah. Um, So yeah, it was in the truck. I knew where all the truck stops that sold beer were. I knew all the liquor stores around the country that were near truck stops that I could get to. Yeah, it was my life revolved around it.
Right. Well, and I didn't do. Sure as fuck didn't do. This is the most cross country driving that I've ever done in my
Mhm.
life.
Right.
That I'm doing now. But still, like I said before, I mean, I notice all the liquor stores, all the bars, all the different
Mhm.
shit. I mean, it's just I can't not see them, and I'm not
Right.
trying to.
Right.
But I did a lot of for years. I mean, a number of years did a lot of traveling around, which I've talked about around Wisconsin,
Mhm.
conferences and meetings and all those different things. And yeah, I mean, all the time I knew, and there was a lot of times I was going to Wisconsin. Well, you've driven in Wisconsin.
Sure.
There's 94.
Mhm.
There's in Milwaukee. There's 41, and there's
Right.
43 going north. Those two things. When you get to a certain point by like Appleton, you can split off and go up towards Green Bay or split off the other direction. And then when you get out to Madison, I mean, there's like 39 that goes this. There's not that many highways.
Right.
So to get to any major metropolitan area, you're going theoretically in one of the same directions all the time. So I'm again, same thing, passing the same, off the highway, these liquor stores
Mhm.
and all. I knew where everything was.
Yep.
Fucking everything,
Well,
all the goddamn time.
well, throw in, having an 18 wheeler. You can't just pull into any one of them. You gotta
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
right. Occasionally I'd have to, there was a couple of spots where I had to park on the on ramp and walk a half a mile. But you do what you got to do.
What are you gonna do to
Yeah,
get your drink? And
that's right.
whatever the fuck I gotta do.
Right. My favorite though was Little Rock because there was literally a liquor store right on the edge of the huge truck stop parking lot. It was like I don't know why there weren't more of those, but Little Rock, Arkansas, there's a Petro there, and there's a fucking liquor store right on the edge of the parking lot.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and that's
And
that's
actually, Wisconsin was nice because most of the truck stops up there sold hard liquor, which was rare in the country.
right.
Yeah.
And I'm well again I don't pay attention to it in the truck stops. But when I was traveling, I could go in almost any place. I never had trouble finding getting a pint of something,
Oh no.
anywhere. I mean, I never
Right.
had a problem doing that. So I guess that doesn't surprise me because again, even doing what I was doing wherever fucking gas stations, everyone's
Right.
got fucking booze.
Oh yeah. Right. Wisconsin. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was. I liked going to Wisconsin. It was easy up there. There were places where it was difficult. I mean, there was, I, there were blue laws and shit. I remember one time I was actually not too far from Kathy. I was in, fucking South Bend.
Right.
Right. And it was a Sunday. Guess
Oh
what?
sure. Yep.
Yeah. I had to drive over to Michigan to get booze.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, I was down south one time and I was in a dry county and didn't know it. I had to drive about 50 miles. But yeah, and that was before, it was all the GPS and shit on the truck, so I could get away with it back then. I couldn't do that now.
Right.
Thankfully, I
Yeah.
don't have to.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, and I mean, God, speaking of, I mean, years ago, I mean, in those situations, I mean, that's back in the map days, you had to
Right.
somebody was like, yeah, go 25 mile down there and turn
Yep.
right, and
Yep.
yeah, turn right at the big oak tree and all those sort of things. But yeah, I mean, in Indiana, I mean, well, Christ, I mean, Kathy and Mark lived there for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Mark and I drove to Michigan a couple of times to get
Yep.
beer because there's a weekend when we drank ourselves out of booze,
Yep.
so we had to go fucking get some. It'd be a holiday and have people over and whatever. And it's like, well, yeah, we drank too much, so I guess we got to go get some more. But yeah,
Yep.
it's I mean, in Wisconsin, it used to be, it was always was it 9 p.m. It used to be like 9. Was it 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.? There was some gas stations that would sell until midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Rare, but but I knew where those gas stations were.
Sure.
If I needed to buy some beer or whatever. But most of the time in Wisconsin, I don't know. Again, gladly, I don't know what it is now. But it was 9 p.m. At a certain point, and on Sundays, and that was never a problem.
Sure. Yeah. Little planning, you're all taken care of.
Oh God, yeah. Well, and same thing when I worked at True Green. The last, second last job that I had, I didn't have to be to work until a certain point, and I knew the grocery store opened at 8 a.m. At that point, where they'd start selling, and I get there right at 8 a.m. because I had to be to work at 9, so I had enough time. I get ready, go to the liquor store, buy the beer and shit that I needed, go back. It's only 5 minutes away. Go back, drop all the stuff off where I was living, and then go to work. Because I had to be to work at 9. But I'm like, I got off of work. By the time I got done, we work late, so I wouldn't have time.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there fucking 8 in the morning on a Tuesday. Fucking, yeah, I want one of those big ass fucking bottle in a 30 pack. Boom. And I'll be back on Thursday as if you don't know me.
Uh-huh.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, thank you for telling me your truck story. So I
Sure.
get two more, one article I want to read you, but one thing from another Mark Barron thing. Demi Moore, he had on his podcast this week or last week,
Right.
which she's in Landman. She's in some new really weird fucking movie that she got nominated for something with, which I didn't
The
see.
Substance.
But there you go.
I'm dying to see it, actually. Yeah. The Mummy and the Monkey, speaking of friends, did a review on it on their
really?
their podcast this last week. Yeah. Or no, on the Hangover, the after show. And I'm definitely, I'm just waiting for Chris and I to have some time to sit down and watch it. It sounds really good. Yes, it's supposed to be very creepy, very horrific, very graphic, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, and they were talking about it on the morning show that I listened to, because I wouldn't have known anything of it. But yeah, again, more like I said, not just that, but she's been on Landman, which they didn't. He didn't talk about that with her. Mark Maron didn't. But the thing of it is, and so a couple of things. And she's sober. She had apparently she's got like 13 years, 12, 13.
Cool.
She had a number of years, and then had. I think she called it a detour this direction. She fucking relapsed it, and she just called it whatever it was. But I mean, she's like, yeah, she goes, now I got, whatever it was. She got 13 years back or 12 back or whatever.
Cool.
But this line I ended up writing down. It said, "This is the way she looks at life." She said, "Things aren't happening to me; things are happening for me."
Yep.
And she said she said that basically tries to look at everything. Everything as a lesson. And I'm like, God damn it, I like that. I mean, we talk about that sort of, but not really in those terms.
Sure.
But again, just saying that things are happening, not happening to me, things are happening for me. I just like the way she put that, because we talked about, when people say, why me? And it's, well, why not me?
Right.
That sort of thing. But I really liked it.
No bad examples. Same sort of thing. Right.
Exactly. Yep. But she was another one. I've always liked Demi Moore, so I mean, it was fun, kind of listening to her and all that sort of stuff, and talking about her, kind of her upcoming and coming up and all that stuff. But but yeah, so that was interesting. Okay, so back to the driving thing, and this is for you, my friend Mike. Okay.
All right.
So once again, article that they had talked about on the morning show. If I can get this fucking article open. God damn it. Hang on. Here we go. I'm like, this fucking thing isn't opening up. Okay. So America's Worst Drivers
Mhm.
by car brand.
Ah. Mhm.
I know you're going to guess one of them because you talk about it all the time. But
Uh-huh.
who do you think well, I would even say pick anyone that might be in the top 5.
Subaru.
Ding, ding.
Yep.
Number 3, though. That's number
Ah.
3. That was the
Okay.
first thing. And I thought about you right away when they were, because, again, Carrie, who reads on the morning show, and she
Mhm.
said, I'm like, it's got to be Subaru because you're the one that talks about it. And
Yeah.
you're the one that's out in front of these fucking people all the time.
Right.
So the number 1 was actually a Ram truck.
Ah, I could see that. Yeah,
And
there
I
are a
was
bunch of
like,
assholes driving those too.
yeah, and I was like, to begin with, I'm like, really? I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. And then number 2, Tesla.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
which I'm like, that makes perfect fucking
Which
sense.
slides into the Subaru thing too, because there's all the fucking safety features on them and shit, and they think that the car's driving itself when clearly it's not.
Right. So, a little side note: have you ever driven? Does your car have lane assist in it?
It does. I've turned it off.
Okay. So, and I don't have mine on, but I there was one car that I think I had a loaner car when I had my Avalon. It was a Toyota that I
Mhm.
had for loaner car that had it. Um, it's just fucking weird. I mean, I turned
Right.
it on. This car has it, so I turned it on. Just hands kind of out. I mean, it's not like you could sit back like you've seen the Bart Simpson or the Simpson one where Bart's
Right.
just like he.
Homer.
Well, no, Bart's in the back seat where they stole the car from the parents. And he's in the back seat with Milhouse and Nelson. They're like, "What are you doing? Who's driving?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "I got the cruise on."
Right.
But yeah, it's just it. Yes, it's fucking weird. But hang on one second. I'm just gonna see. So Ford's way down there.
That's damn right it is.
I'm just trying to see where Honda's far enough down. I didn't look to
In
see.
case you didn't guess, I'm a Ford guy.
Right. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 down from Ford is Acura. Thank you very much.
All right.
You're like, oh, whatever. um, hang on one second here. Top car brands. We already got that one. Yeah. So even the top 10, Volkswagen's number 4, Mazda 5, BMW 6,
Mm-hmm.
Lexus 7,
Yep.
Infiniti 8. Um, 9 is Hyundai and Toyota 10.
Really?
Okay. Yeah.
Subaru and Audi aren't on there anywhere?
Subaru
I
was
mean,
number.
not Subaru, but Audis and Saabs is what I meant.
Nope, not in the top 10.
Really?
Not in the
Assholes
top 10.
driving those too.
Yeah, that was more of a I haven't seen, you know what? I see plenty of Audi drivers. I don't see a lot of
Yeah,
Saabs anymore
right.
these days. But I mean, you're everywhere.
Yeah.
So, but there was the top. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So, who do you think the highest DUI count is by vehicle brand?
Hmm. God, yeah, no, they're trying to. What do drunks drive?
Is if it I'll tell you, this one surprised me a little bit because I'm thinking that drunks, I don't know, well it just depends. I think of a drunk driver a lot of times in, I don't know, depending on how bad off you are, you might be in a lower end vehicle.
Right.
This is a higher end vehicle,
Hmm.
so I'll kind of lean you that way a little bit.
All right. Shit. Mercedes.
You know what? I mean, they're kind of the same. BMW.
Okay. Yeah.
But it says BMW sixth worst in drivers overall, has the highest DUI count,
Hmm.
3.13 per thousand. And I'm like, really? I mean,
Hmm.
again, nothing wrong with that. BMWs are, I mean, they're not cheap,
Right.
And you would think it'd be more of your all day, every day, I don't know, some dude in a fucking Chevy or a
Yeah.
truck or,
Yeah.
just an average whatever vehicle. But yeah, BMW is again, highest. So
Hmm.
it just kind of blew my mind. I just thought when I heard this, I'm like, yeah, you'd like the worst driver list.
Yes. Absolutely.
And I'm trying to see. So you said Saab and Audi. I'm even looking on Audi is Audi's ahead of Ford
Hmm.
as worse.
Right.
So 1, 2, 3, 4 ahead of Ford, behind like Kia. So Toyota's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Audi is 15 on the list.
All right. Yeah. Up there. Like I
Right.
said, I see an Audi and I go, oh, this guy's going to do something fucking stupid.
Yeah, and I don't see Saab on here because I haven't.
Right.
But again,
Right.
there. I think the Subaru. Once again when she said the list, I'm like Subaru's got to be. I was thinking that was going to be number one because
Yeah.
again, you're the one that says it, and I believe you just because you're out there all the time.
Right.
You see far more fucking cars than I do, and I do now. I see some,
Sure.
but certainly not. I don't do as much driving as you do, even with the amount of distance I drive. It's a different
Right.
story. So
Right. Exactly. I mean, I average 300 to 400 miles a day. So yeah.
right.
Right.
Well, and on top of that, I mean, a lot of times I'm on the highway. You're in far more congested areas than I am, and sometimes I'm on the highway at between 3 and 6 in the morning. So I'm kind of when the traffic's a little thinned
Right.
out, So, but all right, but yeah, I don't know. I think I got plenty more things on here, but
Sure.
I think we're good. What do you think there, Mikey? Mike?
I believe we are pretty damn good.
All right, your turn.
All right. What the hell's this? Oh. Somebody's sending me something. I will look at that later. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. As always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, go out there and do something nice for somebody else this week, and don't tell anybody you did it. I think we just read something about that not too long ago. All right. And now, from the bottom of my heart to the depths of my soul, from the beginning of time till the ends of the earth, always and eternally, fuck you. And now it's that time, kids. You have come to the time in the program where it is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off till you get to a gate with a sign on it saying, you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.
You were quite boisterous through that one. I like that. Kind of a showman type of attitude going into this one.
Casey Kasem got me going.
Well, you know what? And it's fitting for the end of season 6. I'm
Yes.
glad. I'm glad that you wrapped up that one like a with a bang like that. Should we talk about scissoring again? Just kind of push everything together and wrap everything up for the rest.
Now we'll cut that part out. See what I did there? Scissoring. We'll cut it out.
Yeah, it's a good goddamn thing we don't edit a fucking thing. That's the only other the Sober Motivation podcast. Again, love it. Great podcast. He edits. You can tell he edits a
Sure.
lot. You can tell in the conversations, which again, fine. I'm not criticizing people for editing. I'm just glad that I don't have to do it. I don't want to do it. And I love the fact that what you guys hear out there is everything that came out of these fucking voices and mouths of ours.
That's right.
We've never had to intentionally edit anything. We've lost some shit.
Occasionally we self-edit in our heads, but
yeah, exactly.
Not even too much of that.
Right. So okay, but real quick side note: I have remote start on my car too.
Yes.
I've never had a car with remote start before.
Ah, it's nice, isn't it?
Oh, it was
especially on those cold mornings.
Oh, I used it when I went to get pizza today and last week. So just real quick, and this is how I found out. So I'm standing there when I got the car in Prescott, and this it was the chick that ended up dropping it off. She's doing what she's doing, and it's dark out, whatever. And I'm holding the key, and I had already started the car, moved it. I already got my radio and stuff set because it was getting late. I was going to have to get up early.
Right.
And I'm looking at the key fob, and I'm standing outside with it. So I kind of walked up to the light, and it says right at the top of my key fob, where it's got the lock, unlock, the trunk, whatever, right at the top, it says engine. And I'm like, does this thing have a remote start? So pressed it, it didn't work.
Right.
Then I hit because I just know from watching people do it and listening, hit the lock button.
Yep.
Held it down and it starts. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, oh, but yeah, I read about the whole thing and how long it goes on. And I did it when I was, hiking last weekend because I was coming up to the car because it was cold. I was cold as fuck by the time I got back. It was like 30 degrees or 32 degrees. Great time, but chilly. So I just started it up, and it blasts the heat like it. whatever it does, it sets it like 72 degrees
Yeah.
because I read all of it. I mean, all this, the radio's not on, nothing's goes on. It just
Right.
has this fucking warms up the car for you.
Yep.
I've got heated in the real quick. It's cooled seats, but it doesn't blow air up. It
Mm.
actually sucks air down out of the seat.
Mm. All right.
And when I read about it to begin with, I'm like, well, that's fucking weird. I'm like, how's that going to work? When I was driving out from, I think whatever it was, wherever I was driving the one day, and then again, the temperature warmed up a little bit, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden my butt's cooling a little bit. I'm like, oh, well, and I get jeans on, and I'm like, that's kind of nice. So I put my hand down on the seat, and you could feel it just kind of like pulling. It felt like an air hockey table, but backwards.
Nice.
And I'm just like, well, this is lovely.
Can I turn this up a little more?
Yeah, and I
a
can.
little more, and a little more.
I think I'll take my pants off.
That's right.
All right. You know what? On that note, I think we're done. I love you, brother.
I love you too.
We'll talk soon.
We will.
Bye.
Bye.
And now it is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.